everyone, it's Karen here. Thanks for joining me. I am making a flip slider card today using Gerda Steiner's new Puppy Mail stamp set. Here's that stamp set. It's got some adorable little puppy images on it, little dogs. Getting in trouble, some of them. So I wanted to show you here, I've already stamped mine out and colored them in, but I used the MFT selfie square and I think it's the Polaroid shaker frame in order to cut these out and to make the cards that go on the flip slider. So when you put your stamps down, you just have to make sure you've got enough space for them to be cut out using that die. Or you could use a square die, it doesn't matter actually. And I'm showing you here, this is the Polaroid shaker frame, and it's just too long on that one side, so all you have to do is cut it down to 2.5-inch square on the extra Polaroid part of it, I guess you could call it. And they will go together like that. So I've colored in with Copic markers the backgrounds, and now I'm just using the sketch marker end of the marker to color the frame, so I could color coordinate them. And I cut another little piece. It's just about a 2.5-inch square. I think I made it just a little bit narrower than that. But because this is a flip slider and you see the back of those cards, I don't like my Copic marker showing through. So I just thought it would, number one, it would reinforce this whole flipping part. But also it covers up that Copic marker. So I taped down the center part and then I'm gluing down the frame on top of that, and I will do that with all of the images I have there. And now this is the main component of this flip slider. You need, out of a fairly sturdy cardstock, I wouldn't use something flimsy, I would get something a bit sturdier. Nina 80-pound I think is what I used, and it should be about 2.25 inches by 8.5 inches long. And then you have a second piece that's a 1/2 inch by 4 inches. So you're going to put fold lines at 2.5 inches, and then every 1/2 inch after that for another 1.5 inches. And then I'm just showing you here how it all goes together. This is my practice one. I didn't like my coloring on this one, so I'm embarrassed to be showing it to you. But it just shows you how it's going to work. I had to wrap my mind around this one a bit and figure out how to do it. So I'm going to score now at that 2.5 inches in, because that's the width of one of those selfie squares. So I start at the 2.5 inch mark, and then I'll go a 1/2 inch at 3 inches, 3.5 inches, and 4 inches. And that will make the folds that the other selfie square is attached to. So there's the mark with the creases. No, I'm just showing you here. This is the very first one I made, and I had 5 selfie squares. So if you had another image, all you would do is add another 1/2 inch to the length of that, and then one more crease at 1/2 inch past the last fold line. And I think 5 would be the most you could fit onto an A2 card. I think after that it gets a bit too big and probably too wieldy. So I'm creasing my folds here, and you really want to make sure these are well creased, so that they're going to move easily enough. They all crease in the same direction, so you can see they're all folding that one way. And now this little piece attaches to the end there. And I used glue for this. This is the only thing that holds this whole thing down to your card. So it does make me nervous, but I've never had any problems with it, so it works. So you're going to attach this to just shy of that end there and really make sure it's adhered down. And once it's stuck down, you can fold the ends in and crease those. And that's all there really is to this whole construction. Each of those little selfie squares will go on to that. They'll attach on. We'll do that in a bit. And I corner rounded the this end of it. I just felt like that made it look a little more finished. So that will be the end that you pull, the rounded end, and the rest of it just gets all tucked in. So here's that practice one again, and I'm just showing you so you can see how they attach. Each selfie square gets attached onto one of those folds and all in the same direction. It doesn't look like it should work, but it does work. And so once those tabs are attached down, when you pull that, it pulls all of those out, so they flip up. So now, because I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm just a little anal about how I line up or arrange my images. I had figured out which order I wanted them to go in. And I'm putting double-sided tape down here. There's just one piece of tape on each of the folds, and then I think I had about 4 pieces for this first selfie picture, which may be overkill. So I'm attaching the bottom one to this, the bigger, the 2.5 inch square. And then each one of the other images will go right on that fold line. And you just want to be sure that you are lining it up with the picture underneath. So the top and the bottom line up with the blue one, and then just crease it down or just push it down onto that fold line next to the crease. And I did the same with each of these. And there you go. And that's it. That's honestly, that is the hardest part of the whole thing, done right there. And now it's all going to pull out as you pull that. It's really quite fun. It's you can tell because how a number of times I've done it. So I just die cut the pull word. I've already made my background there, and I stamped a few little paws on. I think those were from an MFT stamp set. And then there's no foam tape or anything with this. All I did is I'm going to put double-sided adhesive on those ends. And because that is all that's holding this whole thing to the card, I also put glue on. And really, I should have had my tab pulled through this and done it properly, because you're going to see I don't like getting glue on my fingers, and I'm going to get glue on my fingers. So you'll see that moment coming up here. So I take the release paper off, and then I'm going to also put the glue on. It makes me nervous that this is the only thing that holds it down, but it does seem to work. So here's the glue going on. And you can see that tab on the left. I haven't put it through. That was the mistake. I would put it all through, line it up properly before you put this glue down. So here I am, I'm like, oh, messy, really messy. Yeah. And then I'm going to wipe it off on the side there. So have that part ready, I'd say. Just have it all fixed in place. And then all you do is you stick that down. And I actually put it under some blocks, acrylic blocks, just to really let it glue and set up. And that's all there is to that. And then I had my sentiment up on foam tape, and I'm just going to adhere that to the front of the card. And that's it, it's done. So honestly, not that hard to do. And it's a really fun way to use your images. It's highly entertaining pulling that thing and seeing them all flip around. It doesn't stay flat terribly well. I won't steer you wrong there, but it's fun. It's really fun. I hope you guys can give this a try anyway, and thank you so much for joining me.